Greetings, my movie geeks. I've just watched The Batman and I've got a few things to say. Is it the best Batman film we've ever had? Let's find out. First off, the biggest theme of this film is, what is the Batman? Is he a vigilante, a crazy person who needs locking up in Arkham, a leather-clad S&M fetishist, or just a superhero? Compare Batman with Superman and there is a definitive divide between the two. Who is more superheroic? Batman or Superman? Everyone will say Batman because they love Batman. Is Batman a superhero at all? Or is he just a vigilante that just enjoys inflicting pain on criminals? Matt Reeves doesn't worry about this question because he allows the user to decide what the Batman is. Now, from the synopsis and the trailers, the Batman can be summed up as this. Set in Bruce Wayne's second year of being the Batman, he has been going around smacking the shit out of criminals in Gotham for months. But the more he does this, the more he asks himself if he's actually making a difference in Gotham City. The same question most recent Batman films have asked, or at least hinted at. Does the Batman make a difference? Well, he certainly makes a difference to Warner Brothers' bank balance. This question is the one asked for the entirety of the film. But this is not an easy question to answer. And for the entirety of the near 3-hour runtime, Robert Pattinson's Batman comes up with an answer. This movie pits Robert Pattinson's Batman, or Robert Battenbat, for any of the great mates out there watching, up against Paul Dano's Riddler. Despite there being a whole host of Batman rogues in this film, Riddler takes centre stage.
Stay still! Get out of here!
We see the Penguin, played by Colin Farrell, as well as Carmine Falcone, played by John Turturro. But without spoiling anything, Jeffrey Wright's Detective Gordon, detective here, brings the Batman into a crime scene to help solve the gruesome murder of Gotham's mayor. Not because he needs the help, but because there has been a card left addressed to the Batman. Gone are the days of the red bat phone, am I right?
Yes.
The first murder leads Batman on a trail to try and find and stop the Riddler from murdering all of Gotham's most influential players. In order to do this, Batman must solve all the riddles, not tokens. Were you one of the ones who would collect all the Riddler tokens before continuing with the story mode? I was, but I'm sad. And I don't play anymore because I've got kids. With the help of his trusty butler Alfred Pennyworth, played by Andy Serkis, as well as Zoe Kravitz's Catwoman, he doesn't do it alone. Now, I'm not going to venture too much into spoiler territory, as it's only just been released, as everything mentioned so far has been in the trailers and the synopsis. The opening moments of the film were able to captivate me. The way the film looked is something that I noticed straight away. Matt Reeves and cinematographer Greig Fraser have managed to put on film a Gotham City that not only challenges Tim Burton's idea of Gotham, but quite possibly surpasses it. And I don't think we've had a Gotham like that since Tim Burton. Add to that the weather in Gotham is constantly raining, and you have an atmospheric, wet-looking Gotham that mimics that of the Arkham games. Also, it's around Halloween, so it's going to be wet. Some have said that this is the best-looking Batman film, and looking back at all the other ones, it's hard not to see this. It ranks up there with Burton's aesthetic, as well as Nolan's grounded style. But here we have a mix of a grounded Gotham pushed to the max of what the city so full and crowded could look like. But Reeves has constructed a look that not only adds to the moody feel of the story, but it could be seen as a character itself. You do feel as though you have stepped right into a Batman comic. It's dark, it's broody, and it feels grotty to the core. The use of darkness and some muted colours make Gotham a completely hopeless place. And yet, there are glimpses of colour cutting through the darkness. Some strong, vibrant reds that pierce the darkness. That's why I'm using red. Robert Pattinson's Batman is something that needs to be discussed first. As with all new casting, especially in the Batman world, there was uproar that the sparkly vampire wouldn't make a good Batman. But after seeing him in and out of the suit in this movie, I can safely say he's up there with the best of them. Again, some viewers have said that he is the best, and he is extremely good, having the runtime to delve deep into both characters, Batman and Bruce Wayne. He does actually stand apart from the rest. You're either Bruce Wayne or you're Batman. It's very rare that you get both. The film is able to show us a Batman who is still learning. He's still trying to see what fits, at the same time as giving us a deeply depressed, dare I say, disturbed version of Bruce Wayne, who only knows how to invert his emotions. The memes of emo Batman aren't actually far off, but it goes a lot deeper and more detailed into his personal psyche than previous films. The Batman also captures the balance of Bruce and Batman fairly well, giving more or less equal screen time to them both. I do believe that Pattinson could go on to become one of, if not the best Batman we've had. I'm not predominantly a Batman fan, and my own boredom towards the character put me off slightly. But even though I wasn't wholly excited for the Batman, I can say that I was pleasantly surprised. It's still just a Batman film that doesn't really venture too far from its roots. It's the same story regurgitated all the time. But it does push the boundaries and give us an actual detective story within a Batman film. He is the world's greatest detective after all, so we should see him trying to solve the murders using detective work. And it's these scenes that stand out. They are excellent and show how he listens, looks, and even points Gotham PD in the right direction to clues. Namely the scene of the first murder. The way Pattinson moves through the scene and just uses his eyes. He literally uses his eyes, and he emotes so well using his eyes. And that's all he does. You do feel as though you're watching a comic come to life on screen, as Bruce is also narrating. At some points it does feel like that he's channeling Rorschach from Watchmen, but again, what came first? The chicken or the bat? It's a fucking terrible joke. But this narration adds to the noir crime thriller aesthetic that Reeves was going for. And it was clearly Reeves' intention to draw from that genre. And he does succeed at this. The style of the film means it's more of an adult version of the Batman, but the violence shown does fit the tone of the film. You wouldn't have been able to make this without having the violence in a different way. It just wouldn't have worked.
The hell are you supposed to be? I'm vengeance.
The version of Gotham is dark, bleak, and full of crime and corruption. At some points, you actually feel like the Batman is drowning in crime. It is just that bleak. And then we get the same question. Is he making a difference? These themes are best seen in the films of David Fincher and have not really been in a Batman film much. Maybe Nolan to an extent. The Batman has echoes of Seven and Zodiac, and it feels as though those films were used as a blueprint. I'll even go as far to say that the Saw franchise maybe have influenced the Batman. Remember when the fans wanted Robin Williams to play a Jigsaw-style Riddler in Nolan's third film? The idea seems to have carried on. Now we're on the Riddler. Paul Dano gives us a Zodiac-style killer who does have Jigsaw-style traps. He's menacing and creepy throughout, leaving clues and leading Batman on a mystery through Gotham. It is a different side to the character, but one that has been hinted at for a long time and wanted. And he really loves to leave clues. Everything added to the film, the villains, the violence, the style, even Colin Farrell's Robert De Niro impression.
I got you! I got you!
All make great additions to a Batman film. Michael Giacchino's score is exceptional. I listened to it before I saw the film, and I'm still listening to it now. There's only minor things that I can critique to this. Coming back to it, the lighting, some of the darkness is probably a little bit too dark. And I wouldn't even say that the film is overly long. At almost 3 hours, it doesn't actually feel like you're sitting there that long. The story kept me guessing, even if one part of the mystery was glaringly obvious. And you'll know it when you see it. But again, that might just be down to myself knowing these characters and from their comic and movie histories. Bad guys are going to be bad, you know? But other than some wonky CGI that the darkness masks slightly, it's all extremely good. Could this be the best Batman we've had? Do you think we'll get as good a Batman in the future? I have no real expectations for future Batman films, but Matt Reeves has been able to pull off an extremely competent and enjoyable thriller that happens to star Batman. It is a shame that we never got to see where Ben Affleck's The Batman was going, but Matt Reeves has been able to make a Batman film that quenches that thirst. I'm not sure why it was a 15 in the UK, but I am happy that Warner Brothers will most likely plough on and continue with the trilogy. I'm Nate, the Ultimate Movie Geek. If you enjoyed this, please like, share, subscribe, and ring that bell, and I will see you next time. You can follow me on Twitter at Movie Ultimate, on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook at Ultimate Movie Geek. And I'm aiming for 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, so if you hit that subscribe button, I would really appreciate it. Let me know what you thought of the Batman in the comments and on Twitter, and bye for now.